hot seat spot. I'm sorry the seats aren't really hot.
It's alright, just got to take it down.
The deck chairs. I tell you what I really fancy, you know, Top Gear, they have, I think they must be old Rover leather seats or something like that. I don't know, an old Rover car. I think they're really cool, but we haven't got time to get anything like that, so somewhat cooler seats. Those, never mind. Okay, tell us a bit about yourself. You're a local lad, obviously, fairly local.
Yeah, originally lived in Mask. Went to school in Saltburn, which is far nicer than Mask. And then went to college in Gisborough, came to college in Gisborough, where I met my wife, who was wonderful. She told me I had to say that. And then off to university in London, and then back home via Sheffield. And then here, teacher training, and then go to ministry.
That's right. Now, so when you were teaching, you were a physics teacher?
I was a biology teacher who taught physics.
Right. Does that work?
Well, they can't get physics teachers, and I expressed an interest in physics, so that's why they said, well, you like physics, good, you can take over the entire physics syllabus and deliver it.
Very good, okay. I didn't know your mum was going to be here tonight. I remember a story that your family may have had white snake connections if David Coverdale had managed to woo your mum at the bus stop.
Yes,
we're going to get home for this one.
We're still not allowed to play white snake in the house at all. My dad doesn't let me. Apparently, my mum went to school she lived in Saltburn, she went to school in Redcar and used to be chased to the bus stop by David Coverdale. He used to try and ask her out every day. So luckily for me, because I wouldn't be here if she'd been wooed by him. Although had I been here and she'd been wooed by him, I might be considerably better off.
Yes, but you're glad to be who you are.
Yes.
Right, okay. I've got a picture that, of course, you weren't expecting until you accidentally saw it earlier, but look what I found. You know that scripture about what's whispered in secret will be shouted from the rooftops? I think there needs to be a modern translation that adds on the end, and posted on Facebook. Guess where I found this?
It was a very good party, I'd say.
What were the blue things?
The blue things on the end of the head were actually a basketball net that went over a waste paper bin. And you threw your paper into the waste paper bin through the basketball hoop, but it also been a very good hat. Especially after far too many cans of Heineken.
I see. Very good. Can I suggest you perhaps use that for your first church magazine?
I was going to say I might go well on my Methodist notice board.
Okay, right. You've shortly obviously got a move coming up. Tell us a little bit about the things that led up to what you're about to bravely take on. And I'm interested to know, what did your good lady wife say to you when you first announced what you were going to do? So tell us a bit about building up to.
It's all Chris Stevens' fault. He was the youth worker here. He was the youth worker here, and he lent me some money to buy a Mars bar. And said quite simply, look, don't bother paying me back, just do a bit of youth work for me. Which seemed to go on for a very, very long time. I don't know what my hourly rate was, but I don't think it was worth it.
I hope it was a king-size Mars bar.
And then that culminated with us taking the youth group to a Christian event called Harvest. Which seems like ages ago now. And we went with the express intention of the young people in our youth group getting loads, learning loads about God, and it was purely for the kids. And they did. They kind of got loads, learned loads about God, and some of them are here tonight actually. Some of you. But on one of the nights, there was a gentleman on stage talking about God wanting to raise up leaders, young leaders. I was young then. And I've been kind of umming and ahhing for a while, despite, as a child, saying there's only two things I'll never be, a teacher and a Methodist minister. And I've been umming and ahhing, thinking, no, it's not me. And then the gentleman said, there's people out here tonight who will be the leaders of the future. And I kind of felt horrible sensation of God going, that's you. And I tried to sink a bit deeper into my chair and looked around for who God was talking to. But there was no denying it. It felt it was me, so I kind of ran forward for prayer. I think Nikki actually said at one point, that's the quickest she's seen anybody go down in the spirit. It was like, but yeah, so that was kind of the call. I then rang Jackie, because obviously she was at home with Matthew, and 8 months pregnant with Charlotte. And I think her words were possibly not the best timing there. Can we put that on the back burner for a few months? So yeah, but I think she was, eventually she came on and prayed about it, and kind of, the idea was, well, it's a family calling, it's all of us, not just me, so, yeah.
And you've obviously had quite a long period of training now. It seems to be going on forever that you've been training. I just wondered whether there were any particular high points of your training and maybe some low points as well, when you just thought, oh, I want to throw in the towel.
I think from the low points, the first couple of years were hard because I was doing it part-time. Certainly the first year I was training part-time, and I was head of science, and so I had all that kind of responsibility and the training. I think for the first year I didn't go to bed any night before 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was surviving on 4 hours sleep, and that was hard. So that was probably the low point. And some of the kind of tedious lectures that you kind of sit through and you think, how is this ever going to be of use in my ministry? You know, how is 5th century church history really going to make an impact? So they're probably the low points. The high points, in the course, we have to do various placements with ministers. And some of those have been just phenomenally beneficial. Things like visiting people. I never thought I would say this. I used to always joke that I didn't like people. Just happy by myself. But actually, just the privilege of sitting and listening to somebody's story. Listening to somebody tell you about how they came to faith, or the struggles that they had or are having, and being involved in really crucial moments of people's lives, like weddings, funerals, baptisms, points where people maybe that might be the only contact they have with the church, and yet they feel that there's something they want to talk. They want to somehow include God in those elements of their life, those big kind of rites of passage, and just being able to be in those situations is just a real privilege. I think that communion as well, giving communion is just, especially to people that you know, or people that you've spoken to, people whose lives you've had kind of impacted on, the privilege of being able to pray for people as they come up for communion, and kind of just being part of that vehicle that helps them to approach God and worship God and kind of experience God in that sense. I think they're the high points.
You're obviously going up to Sunderland. It's going to be your first
place.
Worried
now about the library thing.
One thing I wanted to say, put as many posters as you can in that library. Cause as much trouble as you